Hello everybody, lords, ladies, gentlemen, and all the rest of that great and glorious, super famous one day Nick Dutch, in the middle of the washing up. That's right, I use the microwave a lot. It's quick, it's simple. I don't have that much time to, just cook a massive meal. So I try and do everything like the easy way. It probably looks like I'm doing something really rude if you just like check out the movements of my body and the movements of my shoulders maybe. But that's not the case. I'm just cleaning a few containers, alright? So just get that thick into your thick head, alright? The way that things are is that, I've been wanting to try and get myself out and about. So as some of you guys know, I joined this social group recently. They're a witchcraft social group, meet once a month. Quite nice people, quite a good laugh. Good company, but on the other hand, they just carried on coming out with that phrase that I hate. Now, for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you'll of course know that there are some expressions and some phrases that I've really grown to hate. And of course, this goes back to way back when I was more heavily involved in the pagan movement at that time. And there was always people who would say, no, this works, that works, they'd always use that most appalling phrase on the face of the planet, it works and all that. And, you can take that in a number of different ways. Firstly, for being exposed all the time to people who are perpetually repeating the phrase, it works. That can have an impact upon you, because that can lead you to believe, possibly even excessively, that a certain thing has a certain result which is just as reliable as me turning on this tap. And that's basically why I hate the phrase. Now, my own personal experiences, sorry, let's rinse that off, okay? My own personal experiences suggests that strange stuff happens under some strange circumstances. But it's the ramifications of those experiences which is essentially the difficult thing, as I've said before, okay, you can see a ghost. Okay, so you can see a ghost. Does that mean to say there's life after death? Does that mean to say that the soul exists? Does that mean to say that there is an astral body? Basically, no. It's just a curious experience. You can spend ages learning how to do an astral projection experience. And eventually, you can actually go through the process of having that experience. And it can be really rather fucking amazing, to be quite frank. And because it's an amazing experience, in that because it's an amazing experience, it's worthwhile having. It's worthwhile just experimenting with it and just seeing basically what you can do, and just going for the experience. But again, it's the ramifications. It doesn't mean that you can reliably move from place A to place B or deliberately share dreams with people. Well, bottom line, yeah, I have had experiences in which I have been able to share dreams with people. Does it mean to say I can do it reliably? No. Does it mean to say that I properly or fully understood the phenomenon on the basis of the experiences that I've had? Well, of course not. We're talking about something which is completely and utterly odd, weird, and kooky. So, as a result of that, there's no way that you or I can turn around and say, like, this is proof of the soul, this is proof of life after death. The only thing this is proof of is a strange experience. Alright? Basically, that's it. Bottom line. As I carry on saying, and this is just a typical Nick Dutch argument, alright? Having these strange experiences says something about us as humans. Because we have the capacity to, okay? We can speculate until the cows come home as to precisely what it means, and precisely what the nature of reality is. I mean, one great guy once said to me, when I was trying my hardest to be a hippie, the way a lot of young people do, oh yeah, I said to him, like, yeah man, so what precisely is reality there? He says, like, reality is the lowest common denominator of human experience, thought and perception, and emotion. That's it. Reality is the lowest common denominator of human experience, thought, perception and emotion. Or something like that. I mean, if you've done even the most elementary mathematics, you'll know what a lowest common denominator is. It's the thing which is most common, basically. So all of these weird experiences are outside of that. Therefore, they're outside of the reality of most people. But there's a few people who have them, and for them you could say that the experiences are real. But whether the experiences are real or not, that does not mean to say that the extrapolations that they come across have the same level of reality that these individuals assume that they have. Okay? When I'm talking about extrapolations, such as, if you were to do an exercise of ritual magic to help yourself to pass an exam, and you actually pass the exam, does that mean to say that it was the ritual magic which essentially made you pass the exam, or was it the fact you've done tons of revision, and studying, and learning, and all that kind of jazz, which enabled you to pass the actual exam? You know, you got to get your perspectives right. And it's because people don't get their perspectives right that gives New Agers or cultists, pagans, or all the rest of that a real bad name. Alright? And some people, they want to hide behind, I think, they want to hide behind their own bad explanations. And that's why they use like the freedom of religion thing. Okay? Freedom of religion means that I am free to believe that that strange experience was caused by, I don't know, a spirit guide, for instance. Fine, okay, you can have your freedom of religion, but if you're going to go around and say that your magic works or your ritual works or whatever, then that's such a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Because you're using the words, it works. This tap, that works, okay? Every single time. Okay, or maybe like 99.9% recurring at the time, because occasionally it needs the washer changed. But essentially it's reliable. Now your meditation, prayer and all the rest of it is not as reliable as this tap, I'm sorry. But then how do you explain the strange phenomenon? The bottom line is, I don't explain the strange phenomenon. They seem to occur through meditation, they seem to occur through strange states of mind which can be brought about through excessive quantities of prayer and religious type exercises, but even then it doesn't mean to say that God has got anything to do with it. Now, nor does it mean to say that Jesus Christ has got anything to do with it, or Herne the Hunter, or Keredin, or however you pronounce her name, the goddess of the Wiccans. It doesn't mean to say that they've got anything to do with it, because we've got no proof that they exist. We've got strange experiences. I had this really peculiar experience of a visitation from an angel. It doesn't mean to say the angel exists. It doesn't mean to say that there was a very peculiar experience associated with it. So what basically am I driving at here? I'm driving at the same stuff I always do drive at, to make sure that you people out there who are occultists, who are members of the New Age, pagan and occult fraternity, don't drive yourself insane and start actually thinking for a change rather than just being straightforward devout believers. If you're going to be straightforward devout believers, what is it that separates you from any other religious movement? You can say like, we do this, we do that, but that's you can say that it's recommended that you don't do this, or it's recommended that you do that, but the fact is your group of people is a group of people, and there's no way that you can actually have any form of control over everyone's behavior. So this idea of we do this and we do that is in fact a heap of shit. Because you're talking about humans here. You know what humans are? They've got their behavioral patterns. They want to make sure that they increase their client bases. They want to make sure they look good in front of their friends, and all that. That's just the way that they are. And most people, funnily enough, are less interested in the truth and more interested in looking good in front of their friends. And as you can tell, I'm an ugly bastard who wears shit jumpers, so obviously I don't care about that. Therefore, my concern is much more to do with finding out things which are true, or at least trying to get closer to things which are true, if I can. Okay, it's difficult. Lots of people jump to the conclusion that I'm a standard superstitious believer. Now, if I was a standard superstitious believer, I would say that the moment I see like a light aberration on a photograph, that's proof that there is a spirit there, because we've seen an orb, we've seen an orb. But if you see these aberrations of light on the camera, it means you got an aberration of light on the camera. It doesn't mean to say that there's proof of life after death or proof of some form of spirit phenomenon. It could just be you've got a shit camera. And that's something else people have got to remember. Just because we've all got, you know, MPEG-4 technology, digital recording devices that have got the capacity to go up to God knows what resolution, or we've all got, you know, like mobile phones with cameras on them. Again, it doesn't mean to say that we're in full possession of the truth, nor does it mean to say that we can record the truth perfectly. Now, technology is great. Obviously, the more apparatus that you can use to measure stuff with, the more likely it is you're going to be able to try and find something out. But apparatus and technology is not 110% reliable. And what's even more unreliable is humans' assessment of what the results of the experiments or experience actually means. Now, the reason behind that is because a lot of humans are like Clouseau, that character that Peter Sellers used to play. They know that they know nothing, but they don't want anybody else to know that they know nothing. So they make shit up. And you know what? They publish shit. And they get people believing this shit. And in the end, this shit becomes part of the mainstream media and part of mainstream theological views. So, that does something called muddying the waters even further. So we end up losing sight of what was true in the first place. This is probably why I feel we got many more people who got beliefs in the world than people who got like real hard and fast knowledge. Okay, humans are massive believing machines, and this is one of the reasons why it's great that science exists, because science itself is there to teach us how to distinguish between one thing and another. Alright? It's not perfect because humans aren't perfect, and there will be mistakes made. Now, within the past few hundred years, there's like gravity that's been developed. You know, the theory of gravity is, the name gravity has been come up with or invented as a result of Newton and all the rest of that. Okay, we found out more. We as a species have found out more about the way the universe works and new natural forces such as dark matter and dark energy have also been discovered. These were forces that people did not know much about, and to all intents and purposes didn't exist. If we see the things that we know now as being everything that we could ever know, we're screwed. Alright? Because Columbus, when he tried to go around to India for his trading routes thing, alright, ended up landing in the place we now call America. And he didn't believe that America existed, and he thought it was India. That's the kind of mentality of someone who says that what we know now, or the methods of analysis that we've got now, or the understanding of the world that we've got now, is all that there ever can be. You know, it's just like Columbus landing in America and thinking, no, this must be India, because that's what everything that we know so far can tell us, okay? This is definitely India, or the Indies, or whatever. because he didn't know nothing, and he was too dogmatic about his understanding of the world to think outside the box and start thinking that maybe I've landed on another island. So if you take like the physical scientists who say that all this weird new age hoogie boogie stuff is just pathetic, they're wrong in principle because they're not really being scientific about the progress that science makes, the progress that human knowledge makes. Have I got anything else to wash up? Back in just a second. Here we go, last cup for the washing up. Because old models of the world get destroyed, slowly but surely. Alright, they get corroded and they get undone. And just as a force was, the laws which govern the force, which come up with or discovered or invented or whatever the word was, and hey presto, we now have like the quantum theory of gravity and the rest of that. How will things be in another 5 or 10 centuries? Will we eventually have the quantum theory of consciousness? Will the EEG machines and MRI scanners that we got now become just the basic background, the foundation science for what could be the consciousness science of the next era of human evolution? Now, none of this stuff means that spirits exist, or there's demons, or there's angels, or there's guardians, or there's fairies at the bottom of the garden. What this stuff means is that there's much more for us to understand. I mean, one hypothesis that will make some sense is that angels don't actually exist, but there's certain ways in which our minds tend to interpret experiences from outside somehow. And I would say that most normal people can't do it because they're within the lowest common denominator of human experience. They're within a form of commonplace reality. They're not people who are slightly outside of that as a result of doing tons of religious weird shit, okay? Right. There's always a last teaspoon, and I will leave that in the washing up bowl as if to act as a superstitious charm type thing. Yeah, there we go. I've invented a new tradition. If you leave a teaspoon in the washing up, it will mean that in the future you'll still have more washing up to do. Yep. There we go. That's superstition, not magic.